Marin County schools are just a few days away from going home for the holidays, and they're planning to send kids home for the break with COVID-19 test kits. Here to talk about the ideas, Dr. Matt Willis with Marin County Health and Human Services. Dr. Willis, thanks so much for joining me. This is really going to help families not be running around towards the end of the holidays trying to find tests for their kids before they send them back to school. These were provided through the government?
That's right. This is from the California Department of Public Health has provided us with 48,000 test kits that we'll be distributing to every family with a child in a Marin County school and all staff. And the idea is that the day before they return to school, everyone will be testing to make sure that no one who is infected actually enters into that school setting on the first day of school.
I was just going to ask, is the directive that they take it the day before or the day of? But you're saying day before is the best way to do it.
That's right. We're asking people to test on the afternoon on the day before they come in. So there's going to be a period of about 4 days where different schools will be coming back into school. That January 2nd, that Sunday before the Monday the 3rd, will be, I think, a really big testing day for Marin County families. And then others are coming back into school later in that week. But it's the day before.
Why was this so important for you guys to secure these tests for all of these families?
Well, we know that the holidays do bring risk. There will be families that are traveling. There will be families engaging in gatherings. Transmission can occur. We saw a surge in cases after Thanksgiving. And this is really the best way to ensure that nobody who is carrying the infection is actually coming into that school setting. So it's the best way to prevent outbreaks that could begin right off the bat if we didn't have a strategy like this.
You all are still doing testing regularly at the schools as well, correct? Talk to me a little bit about the mitigation and the different processes that you guys are doing still to keep students safe.
That's right. This is not instead of all the things that we're doing every day to ensure safety in schools. This is an added layer of protection coming out of the holidays. But there's facial covering for all students and staff in schools every day. That's a state requirement, and we stand behind that. I think that's one of the most effective strategies for us. We're also, most of Marin County families do have testing kits that we have administered or delivered to them for testing if they're experiencing symptoms. So if a child wakes up in the morning and is having runny nose, sore throat, we're expecting Marin County families to do that test that day to make sure they don't come into school if they're infected. And if the result is positive, obviously isolate at home and reach out to their clinician for support.
I know there was a recent issue at a Marin school where a student was knowingly sent to school with COVID-19. Is there anything happening right now to remind parents of the issue with doing that?
Well, hopefully that, at this point in this pandemic goes without saying, this is one of the most fundamental principles for all of us of just preventing outbreaks is to not enter into congregate settings, not be around other people if you know you're infected. The positive test signifies infection, and the most important thing we can do at that point is isolate. We do have supports for families who would need to isolate their child. The schools are ready to provide lessons plans if anyone does test positive that day before school. Public health is ready to step forward and offer supports to that family. But yes, fundamentally, the most important thing out of all of this is to test, and if you're positive, isolate and not come into school.
Right. Dr. Willis, anything else you want parents to keep in mind over these next 2 weeks when they go off on holiday break?
Well, I think, as we see Delta variant is now spreading very quickly, and we're also seeing the emergence of Omicron more and more. A few cases now across the Bay Area. We've seen that in other parts of the world it's taken off very quickly. Making sure that if you're having gatherings indoors, that those who are participating, those who are coming, are vaccinated is critical. Covering your faces in indoor public settings, that's now a state requirement. So if you're out shopping, a lot of people will be in shopping settings, make sure you're covering your face. And if there are people who are traveling and coming back into the area, want to make sure that they're also tested after they return, 3 to 5 days after they arrive, to make sure they haven't been infected while they were traveling.
Definitely. Dr. Matt Willis, Marin County Public Health Director, thank you for joining us.
Great being with you.